everyone. Welcome to the session of Agile Trends. And my name is Mansoor. I'll be your facilitator today. This is the part two series of the previous webinar. And today we are going to talk about imperatives of business agility using SAFe. So again, welcome everyone. My name is Mansoor. I have been mentored by Dean Leffingwell, the chief methodologist, and I have been implementing SAFe for more than a decade. My journey started way back in 2013-14, around that time, and I worked with the likes of Airbus Helicopters, Optus, Telstra, and many more in assisting them in their scaled agile journey. Today, it's a follow-up from what we did in the session one. I'm going to talk about the 7 core principles, and I will take you through this journey and assist you a little forward. So without wasting much time, let's get started and let's continue with this journey. So this is Mick Kirsten. Mick Kirsten, in his book Projects to Products, talks about how organizations need to move away from projects to products. Why? Because projects got a start, got an end, and there is a unique deliverable. But whereas when we talk about products, we need to think from a holistic perspective. We need to think about customer centricity. We need to think about the operations involved. We need to think about from an ideation going down into decommissioning of a particular product or a service is important. So it's very important to think and move from projects to products. And those who master large-scale software delivery will define the economic landscape of the 21st century. So that's what Mark Kirsten in his book talks about. We've seen a lot of technological change, right? Due to pandemic, the communication has become a challenge. People, are using various technologies, whether it's the Zoom, which I'm using to talk to you guys, or whether it's webinars. But tomorrow, our landscape will not be the same. You may have a virtual reality coming in. Already, Mark Zuckerberg has announced for Meta, right? So I'll be more than excited to see how Meta would shape our lives, right? There are a lot of positive and a lot of negative things happening around Meta. So you never know, tomorrow this training could be delivered while a hologram or a Meta avatar could come into your lounges and teach you a program, right? So market is heavily investing towards technology, and we are moving in a very, very faster pace towards getting into the new space of technology. We are competing the age of software, and the problem is not with our organization realizing that they need to transform. The problem is with organization using old frameworks, which are not helpful for our current infrastructure. We need to evolve, right? And that's where, we talk about a new operating system. So we need to look at to rethink how our organization works, how the world is changing. Is our organization structure keeping up with the rate of the basic systems, structures, culture built over the past century, right? And how they can keep in place. So John Carter in his book talks about how we need to look at different ways of rethinking how our organizations work. The solution is not to trash what we know, but to reintroduce a second operating system, which is familiar to most of the successful entrepreneurs. And it just so happens that we have a new operating system at our fingertips. So this is Dean Leffingwell. So he mentions every business is a software business. Now, achieving a state of business agility means the entire organization is just not developing or engaging continuously, proactively, innovative business, but also deliver solution in a competitive way much faster. So Dean Leffingwell talks about, yes, there were old operating systems which encompasses about hierarchies, but how do we solve the problem of reducing or minimizing the hops of communication between the hierarchies, right? So that is where SAFe comes into picture. And again, every business is just not a software business. It could be software, hardware, also humanware. Today, we are working in a human-dense environment where it's very important for us to get connected to the human beings, to the ground, to the people who are working at the bottommost level. And it's very important to see how the communication cascades from the leadership team to the management team to the team who's working right at the bottoms of the bowels of the organization. That plays a very, very important role. So today's session is about imperatives of business agility. For acquiring business agility, you need to have technical agility and business level commitment from the CIO levels, from the CTO levels. And also you need to focus on value stream. A value stream talks about how we deliver value to our customer, right? How do we define value? Value is what my customer gets, what my customer is willing to pay. So it requires that everyone involved in delivering business and solutions using lean and agile practices, whether it is digital systems, whether it's operations, whether it's legal, whether it's marketing, whether it is people, finance, development, right? So it could be anyone in the organization who is talking about the way of transformation and transition towards operations, legal, marketing, everyone going agile. So right from the business solution to the digital system to the application softwares, the whole organization and the whole enterprise moves towards agility. To deliver business agility, the organization has to be nimble. The organization has to adopt to the change. The organization needs to embrace change. The organization needs to enable conducive ways to adopt a change. That is very important. It's just not the technology team, but also it is every part and every corner of the business moving towards agility. That's very important. So to move towards agility, everyone involved in delivering business solution needs and use lean and agile practices, right? Whether it's using Kanban systems, whether it's using Scrum methodologies, right? Or combining Scrum with Kanban. It could be any of this, right from the business owners till the finance, till the accounting, till the HR, providing on-demand people, marketing, legal, everyone has to be agile. So when I talk about legals and contracts going agile, it plays a very, very important role. It plays a very, very important role that how business solutions can go agile and how we can move towards business agility. So finance can become agile. When we talk about finance becoming agile, it is important that there is a participatory budget which occurs. When we talk about legal becoming agile, we are talking about how our contracts will accommodate. How will our contracts accommodate to suit the flexibility of an organization? So that's important. How operations can go agile, how DevOps can come into picture, how marketing can go agile, right? The best example is my marketing team, which I work. We work on an iterative basis, and I tell my marketing team what the intent is, and my marketing team designs the campaigns according to how we go. We have a rollover meeting every fortnight so that we know how we are tracking and how we are checking. And thanks to my marketing team who has got this webinar for you and does all the great work possible for Paradigm Innovations. So every corner of your business becomes agile, and that's where the business agility comes into picture. Now, as we go further, yes, lean enterprise do use different operating system, and one of the operating system which is on our fingertips is the SAFe. So SAFe talks about agility at the business level, at the portfolio level, at the large solution level, at the essential level, and at the team level. In my series 1 of the video, I had covered all the different palettes of agility. I had been through all the different palettes. I'm not going to repeat again. But yes, just at a very, very surface view, we talk about the core values, the lean mindset for the organization to adopt business agility. We need to have a lean mindset. We need to encourage SAFe principles. And there's a beautiful roadmap, implementation roadmap, which talks about how organizations need to move from a traditional or an ad hoc environment towards agile environment using business agility. The heartbeat of this whole process is the program increment planning. where you have the business owners, the product owners, the scrum masters, the product management team, the solution train engineers, the epic owners, they all are there in that 2-day event so that they plan, right? Set an intent, set a direction, remove the bottlenecks, remove the hurdles. As we go further in the series, I will be talking about more on PI planning and implementation roadmap and so on and so forth. So I will be presenting these series one by one as we go. And for business agility to be imperative in an organization, we do need agile organizations, right? We need organization agility. We need lean portfolio management. We need enterprise solution delivery, agile product delivery, team and technical agility, and have a continuous learning organization, which I'm going to cover in the coming part of this episode. The most important part of this picture is also measure and grow. So we as consultants move to an organization and also check whether the organization is pre-crawling, crawling, walking, flying, right? So we need to understand what is the level of agility that an organization has embraced and then move forward. We have our customer stories in this link, that is scaleagile.com/customer stories. Here you will see how Post Australia and many more have moved towards business agility, right? How they could go faster to the market, right? There's only one boss, who's the customer. The customer can hire or fire any one of us. And there is something called cost of delay. Is my customer willing to wait for the product, or will they move to somewhere else? That's important. So time to market. Before the product gets commoditized, it's very important to understand the time to market and see how quick we can go to the market. Reduce defect by 50%, improving quality, right? Implementing DevOps, improving defects, right? Doing things the first time, that's important. Having a definition of done, having a shared definition of done, having a definition of ready, that's important. Right? So how do we embed quality into the process? How do we talk about productivity? How do we increase productivity? Right? By reducing bottlenecks, by reducing decision-making times. So those all play a very, very important role in increasing productivity. Increasing customer engagement, increasing team engagement, right? So the team needs to be involved at every step, right? So happy and motivated customers play a very important role. So to implement SAFe, we need to look at our business results, which are derived from an improved quality, improved productivity, engagement at all levels, and faster time to market. Right, the SAFe journey started off in 2011, been almost more than a decade. So SAFe 1.0, 2.0, 3, 4, 4.5, 4.6, and 5, and now we are on 5.1. And the journey never stops. It keeps growing. It keeps going ahead, right? So the roots for the past, present, and future are deeply soiled into the Agile and Scrum practices. And Scale Agile takes you the next level up, lifts your business next level up, and gets you to the next notch. So yeah, this is the Scale Agile framework. It's got 4 palettes. I had discussed this in the last class, where we have essential SAFe, the large solution SAFe, the portfolio SAFe, and the full SAFe. For organizations to go SAFe, they need to follow at least essential SAFe. That's the basic. When we talk about essential SAFe, the team level and the program level SAFe. Here we'll talk about roles like Scrum Master, who's a servant leader, the product owner, who's the voice of the customer, and the Agile team. They work on team backlog. Backlog is nothing but a list of requirements, right? The team can use Scrum, XP, Kanban practices. They have a 2-day planning meeting, which is called program increment planning, which occurs every 5 iterations. Each iteration is 2 weeks, right? And they adopt continuous delivery pipeline, continuous exploration, and continuous integration. So that happens. And the team works on stories, which are nothing but your requirements, and the enablers, right? Enablers build up the architectural runway. So at the end of the 4th iteration, we have the 5th iteration, which is innovation planning iteration, and this is for this is for innovation and planning, right? So this is the fifth iteration, innovation and planning. So it's very important to know these five, how these five iterations work, right? So what happens is after the PI planning, there are three key inputs for the PI planning. One is you have the top 10 features, the program backlog, right, and the program vision. And at the end of the PI planning, we have the team board, right? The team board with so it's got a list of dependencies and also the risk and the features and have the dependencies listed out. So the PI planning event helps everyone to understand what we are delivering. The business owners will talk about the intent. The product management team will talk about the vision of the product, top 10 features. The architect team will talk about the system architects will talk about the existing architecture which is available, and then you have the business owners who will help the team make decisions. Similarly, we add the solution layer. In the solution layer, we build capabilities, right? We work with solution trained engineers, solution management, right? And here we help, building capabilities of a solution. A supplier gets added. So here we introduce a supplier layer. And on top of this, we have the lean portfolio management. The lean portfolio management talks about the epic owners, right? They are the ones who shepherd. We in this 2-day program, we also talk about the epics being produced, the strategic themes of an organization, the portfolio vision and the portfolio budgets having a guardrail. And we deliver value using development value stream and operational value stream, which is the underpinning concepts of the safe environment as we go. To enable business agility, we need these 7 core competencies, which I'm going to talk about one by one as I go in my next slide. Okay, now the 7 core competencies, this is going to be the core of today's conversation. All right, and we'll be spending a few minutes here. So the core seven core competencies of business agility includes number 1, customer centricity. The customer centricity talks about how do we think like a customer? How do we understand our customer's lifetime value, right? Who's our customer? As I mentioned earlier, there's only one boss, who's our customer. The customer can hire or fire any one of us, right? So we need to understand what our customers' likes are, what our customers' dislikes are, right? What does our customer expect from a product? What do the customers see about a product? What do the customers talk about a product? What do the customers inform their other colleagues and friends and relatives about our product? So our whole journey involves around the customer, okay? A customer-centric organizations are evolving as the customer's needs are evolving, right? So we should not make our customers wait for a solution, right? We need to continuously interact with our customer for what solutions they require and work with them. So customer centricity is heart of the business agility competency, right? Along with that, we have lean portfolio management. Our portfolio management should not be of a hierarchy which creates bottleneck. Here in lean portfolio management, which is part of my research and PhD, I do talk about how to create lean governance. How do we enable governance within the teams? How do we make accountability within our teams? So in my research, I do talk about governance being a dragon which comes from at the back of the door and scares people. So if we have governance embedded into our process and ways of working, that plays a very interesting role, where a whole team gets accountable and they are not feared of someone coming and trying to grab them because they've not done something consistent. Lean portfolio management also talks about how do we make our processes lean? How do we have our dancing PMOs, right? The PMOs which are flexible. So in Airbus helicopters, I did implement PMOs which were flexible. So we had sizing tools, we had project sizing tools, which said, okay, a project with a certain size needs to follow a certain level of competency and a certain level of rigor in their documentation, so on and so forth. So that plays an important role, how PMOs become agile, right? That's important. Also in lean portfolio management, we'll talk about how are budgets allocated, right? So are the budgets allocated in an upfront way, or do we allocate budget using a participatory budgetary methods where we have involvement from all the different business unit heads come in, rather than the highest paid person gets to make a decision, or the crying baby gets the milk first, correct? So this is very important in lean portfolio management, where we talk about participatory budgeting and continuously delivering budgets to our value streams as long as they're delivering value. Organization agility talks about the whole organization going agile. As I mentioned a little earlier, the sales, the marketing, the HR, everyone going agile, everyone following agile practices, right? Moving from autocratic organization to a more participatory organization, moving from a top-down hierarchical structured organization to more holocratic organization, right? So that is important where we talk about organization agility. How do we make our organizations flat? How do we enable organizations to move forward? Continuous learning cultures, right? So how do we enable our organization to become evolving organisms where we continuously learn from each other, learn from the process, learn from the practices, not only learn, but also teach others, because we are continuously learning people. Our learning doesn't stop with a day or two or a month, right? It has to be continuous. It has to continue learning. It's just not about learning. So in EMC, I used to work for a company called EMC today, which is called Dell EMC. And in Dell EMC, the main important prerogative was, how do we teach? How do we learn, right? So the engineering team used to work with the support team to learn their practices and see what does it mean for them? What does it mean for the customer? Right? And we used to have a 4-day training mandate. And in 4 days, we could take 4 days training per quarter. We would go for online training or, on-site training to learn. But not only learn, but come back and teach to our teams what we learned. That was more important, right? And if team wanted more information, they could go to a real workshop and take more information from that. So that continuous learning culture enables business agility. And that is the core of what we believe and what we are. The next competency is the lean leadership. Lean agile leadership is all about how do you make your leadership think agile, be empathetic, right? Leaders eat last. Simon Sinek in his video talks about to make the organization understand about the why before doing the what. Right? He talks about leaders being the enablers, right? So that's very important, and I follow Simon Sinek quite a bit. So that's very important to have empathy. How do you empathize with your teams? How do you not sacrifice your team to keep your jobs, right? So that's important. Okay, good leaders make people safe. Good leaders enable organization agility. Good leaders come in front of their team if there is a problem. They lead from the front, not just hide behind the team. So it's very important for the leadership team to understand how they enable agility, how they empathize with people, how they work with people, how they enable people's long life learning, how do they grow people, how do they move people from a fixed mindset towards a growth mindset, right? So all that are some key imperatives of a lean leader. And a lean leader plays a very, very important role in implementing business agility, right? So I can talk about lean leadership almost for a day. So as we go forward, we will take one by one of these topics. So the next series 3 is about lean leadership. So I will start with the leadership in my next conversation, and I will only cover leadership for an hour. And I can talk about lean leadership almost for days together, right? That's my favorite topic, and also part of my research. Next is the team and technical agility. Here we'll talk about how teams implement Agile using Scrum, XP, Lean, Kanban methods, right? If you're talking about Scrum, we are talking about Scrum ceremonies like daily stand-up meetings where we ask questions. What did you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? Are there any roadblocks? This enables agility where the team is accountable to answer what is happening, right? And then we have the iteration planning what are you going to do in the next 2 weeks, okay? And then we are going to talk about the iteration reviews, right? Having reviews and iteration retrospectives. What went well? What went wrong? How could we improve? We are learning organization, and we need, and it is very, very important for us to keep learning in those iterations, in those short cycles. Learn from those mistakes, not repeat those mistakes, right? It's human to make mistakes, but not repeat those mistakes. That's very important. And that's the core concept of team and technical agility. Then we have the agile product delivery and enterprise solution delivery. Agile product delivery talks about continuous integration, CI, CD, right? DevOps, and all those concepts which will enable our customers to quickly realize value. How can we create product and service where the customer can pull the value when they need, not when we give them, right? So that's very important. So the organization has to be nimble. The organization has to be ready to deliver what is ready for the customer, not make the customer wait for days and days together, right? So that's very important. And enterprise solution delivery, here we talk about which part of solution needs to be fixed, which part needs to be flexed, right? We'll talk about compliance, how compliance works in an organization. So as I promised, so every fortnight we will have webinar on each of these topics, right? So lean agile leadership, team and technical agility. So next, please stay tuned for team and lean agile leadership. That's going to be the next series. That'll be the third of the series about leadership, and we'll go cover each of these 7 core competencies more in detail. Okay, all right. So the management challenge, it's not enough that management commits themselves to quality productivity. They must also know what they should be done, and such responsibilities cannot be delegated, right? So Deming talks about, the management responsibilities cannot be delegated. It is with the team. It's for the teams. It's for the leadership to see and guide, right? So that's very important. So that's a management challenge, and we need to acknowledge that management challenge as we go. And as a consultant, what normally I do is I go to organization and I perform the business agility assessment test, right? So this business agility assessment test talks about the different parameters, right? So under team and technical agility, we'll talk about what is the level of competency and maturity of the agile teams, built-in quality, teams of agile teams, how do they work at a program level, right? Agile product delivery. So how is the organization having a customer centricity and a design thinking approach? Develop on cadence, release on demand, DevOps and continuous delivery pipeline, right? And in enterprise solution delivery, we'll talk about solution and systems engineering, coordination of teams, suppliers, continuously evolving systems. In lean portfolio management, we'll talk about and measure the strategy and investment funding, the lean portfolio operations, lean governance, lean mindset, lean leading the change, leading by examples, right? And and organization agility, we'll talk about lean thinking people, lean business operations, and continuous learning culture, relentless improvement, how we aspire for continuous improvement, learning organization, and building innovation across team, right? So we work towards this measure and grow. So I normally have a half a day briefing meetings with the executives, and we do these assessment tests, and then we help organizations set up for the PI planning and all the other mechanisms which come along in this business agility journey, right? And we help your organization move forward. So the measure and grow is the first step to start, where we do these assessments, and we provide you a report. So if you or your organization is looking for any of these assessment reports or maturity assessment reports, please do contact me at mansoor@paradigminnovations.com.au. My number is 0450-190-445. Right, so here we'll help you create a summary of your business agility assessment. We'll go deeper into the competencies, and we will also provide you solutions. And how do you move from a pre-crawling to a crawling, or a crawling to a walking, and a walking to a running, and running to a flying, right? So we will walk you through all the different maturity assessment tests, and we will help you take your organization go to the next level. So please do log in. We do conduct a 2-day program. So we have a weekday batch starting on 3rd of March, starting at 1:30 p.m. Sydney time, which goes on till 9:30 p.m. Sydney time, right? And it's both on Thursdays and Fridays. So 3rd of March, please feel free to register. There's a heavy discount which is going on. So yeah, there's a 10% webinar coupon, which is LS 10%, which you can use and register, right? So this exam fees, this nominal fees is generally 1,200 Australian dollars. It's discounted to $899. Generally, I do this price for the corporates, which includes $100 of US fees, the $100 of examination fees. So this 2 days action-packed program covers case studies, right? So we'll use case studies, just not lecture or notes, right? It's case studies. We'll use a case study. We will help you prepare until you're comfortable for your exam. The exam, you need to complete your exam 30 days after you complete the program. So the weekday batches on 3rd March and 4th March, the weekend batches are on 5th March and 6th March. I look forward to welcoming you all for this informative program. Please use this discount coupon code LS 10% to enable yourself to register yourself and learn more about what agility is all about, right? So what agility about and how does it impact your world? How does it impact your life, right? So that's very, very important. Please feel free to connect me on LinkedIn, right? My name is Mansoor Mohammed. You can connect me on LinkedIn, right? And I'll be more than happy to support you. And I look forward to you welcoming you in this safe journey. Any questions, anyone? All right, if there are no questions, I look forward to welcoming you all in this program, and thanks for your time. Stay safe, and I look forward to welcoming you in this Scale Agile Framework journey. All the best, stay safe, and see you soon. Thank you.